Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're taking a look at Dreamcatcher's dance practice number 3. I do know they had their debut before this video was released, but because I had mentioned what I had mentioned in the dance practice number 2, I thought it was very appropriate for me to go ahead and look at 3, because that was what I was told by a couple of people already on Patreon to kind of just brace myself for, or like mentally prepare for, because we do have a couple members that are underage that are going to be participating in this one. It is Partition by Beyonce, and Partition is not a child or a children's song, just to put it very lightly. And so I'm intrigued about this, but not so much as like, I'm not dreading it. Like, I don't want people to be like, oh, I'm ready to be upset. No, I'm going to be taking it with an open perspective. But of course, we'll talk about the appropriate things that need to be talked about when they're talked about. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and take a watch. Astronomically tame in comparison to what I was expecting, 1000%. I thought their dance practice number 2 was a little bit more questionable than this. I'm actually very surprised. I mean, yes, with the song is not the best song for anybody under the age of like 21. Honestly, this song, woo! But a lot of what they didn't really choose to do a lot of wordplay. Somebody did mention there's a chance they may not really be aware of what's being said. I understand that to a certain degree, of course, because for me, sometimes I accidentally play music in my class where I think it's saying one thing and it is not saying that, and so we just make very quick adjustments, we move on, that's fine. So am I sitting here saying, oh, it's totally fine to dance Partition? If you're like 16, no, at all. It's just, but when you look at the actual context of what they're doing to the track, they're not really engaging in the wordplay as much, hence why it's not as inappropriate as the potential of inappropriateness. If you're matching musicality or tone of lyricism, like a lot of times you would want dancers to do, it can get bad fast. But here, it's definitely, it feels way more conservative in the approach, with a couple like hints and teases, but not like a full-fledged partition, like the silhouettes. Like, because we do have a silhouette, but not like that kind of silhouette, like what you would see in Beyonce's music video. So going from the top here, I'm actually very surprised, if you could tell from here. I was like totally expecting something different, so I am glad to be pleasantly surprised. We do have the fishnets. I mean, to each their own with this here. The little dips of the hips, I do feel like some of our shorts are pretty short for this, but also, once again, I do not know who are our underage dancers and who are not. So it's if she's an adult, she can, I mean, you can wear whatever you want. Like, I understand that. It's just goes back to protecting those that need to be protected. And so I'm not really going to touch on the costumes as much. Now have the energy, notice that they are choosing to sit their weight in their hips a lot. Here's my note that I'm going to give. Whenever you choose to do a feminine style like this, or like one that really requires a lot of the usage of the arch of the back, just be very mindful to not crunch the lower back. And here's why. Because I've said this before, this part of your back is called your lumbar, and it's meant for stability, not for mobility. It's not meant to be like bend and do all these crazy contortion things. That's where your upper back comes in. So having a lot of the arch stem from the upper back and then having stability to hold it down with your core, with your lower back is better. If you feel crunching, so if you do this style in general and you feel crunching or like you feel pressure in your lower back, that means you're not using your core and you're placing too much weight on that lumbar, and you just want to be very mindful of that, especially whenever you go low or you're choosing to get up and get down very quickly. So that's just my like little thing that people don't talk about enough, I feel. And also note too, I was expecting them in heels for this and they are in tennis shoes. So that was another thing that caught me off guard as well. Notice that we're really accenting and we're trying to do the ISO, ding, 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 dropping it down. 2 and 3 and 4. Yep, so it goes da 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 da, and they drop it down. So it was a nice usage of taking the chest, having a staccato, and then legatoing it out to hit that tone, and they drop it down. So here they do choose to isolate with the arch of the back. So I do feel that some of these movements do come across more as accentuating the arch of the back versus the actual hips. So I think there's something to note there. Going through, this does read teasing, and of course I'm going to give the same sentiments that I've given before, but it's not to the degree of teasing where we have to stop and have like a conversation about why I'm calling it the way that I am, to the degree that I'm calling it. So having this arch here, it's a great silhouette that she had there. Dropping it down, where your hand placement is important too. Notice that they keep it on the thighs. They do not drape it around the inner thighs. I am appreciative of that. That's just a way of being more conservative in the choice. Yeah, so you know what she's talking about. She's talking about we want to have lots of fun in very private quarters, and he is ripping my blouse. So there's those things. Are they ripping their blouses? No. And am I happy they're not ripping their blouses? Yes, I am, because I don't feel like we need to, and they're not. So yay for us. Dropping it down. Interesting on the video editing. Also, this is like a higher quality dance practice in comparison to the ones that they showed pre-debut. I know, once again, like I said, they have debuted at this point, but I really wanted to touch on this one just because it has been brought to my attention, and I wanted to, since I was just having the conversation, go ahead and approach and look at this one before going and checking out their debut. So this is really, I'm actually very appreciative that I was given that kind of awareness, so I can actually truly appreciate there is a conservativeness that is taking place more so here than what we saw from their second dance practice. So that is something important to note. All dressed up, bringing it around. On this club, notice we do have that chin raised a little bit higher. Those are little details what can make your intention of how you're doing the movement shift and look different. Because some of them are keeping it more down. When you have it down, it can come across more like more fierce or strong. But then when you have it up, it has this like playful vibe about it. Just so your head placement does matter in the interpretation, and everyone chose to do it a little differently, and everyone's doing a good job on the ISOs. And once again, we're bringing it up. We're not touching the inner thighs. We're keeping it on the actual legs, dropping it down. She's adding a couple extra bounces for essence and presence. She comes up, she adds a little extra oomph there. We did have, because of her shorts, because it's really dark, I'm appreciative that it can be a little bit on the darker side. Because of this moment right here, she does come up. You can tell her bottom is coming towards the camera because it is really dark, though it does help with some of that. If there was something a little questionable happening with her outfit, that helps with that. And then they all walk. We walk away. She walks forward. Me, I just want to beat that girl you like. As she goes, she has her moment, and they walk away. And so it was actually pretty tame compared to what I was expecting for a track like Partition. I remember I come from America, and a lot of times America goes wild on these tracks because Beyonce is an American artist. And so I think that for what I'm used to, I was expecting that here because I had specifically been given a heads up about it. But to you guys can be rest assured they did take a more conservative approach to this. And I have a feeling it's also to show the stark difference in how they chose to debut as well. Because I do know their debut track. I've heard it before. I've not seen the choreography. I do know it is not going to be in this realm. It's going to be more of rock aesthetic. And so going from like a super rock synchronicity, polyrhythmic intention into more of a sensual, simpler, because this was more simpler intention. It's going to show their vast range, and I feel it's going to help attract a wider pool of individuals, because a lot of people will be able to appreciate them and their different scopes of movement. And that's and so I totally see and I understand that. So it makes me, honestly, this really wasn't that bad. I think it was definitely on the cleaner side for sure, and I appreciate that they had an opportunity to shoot a dance video in higher quality as well compared to just in the dance space. I think that's really fun, and I think it would be fun for them too, because having something in a concept form just hits different than if you just have it in the dance rehearsal space, from personal experience. So I really liked the improvement on performance and uniformity of the group. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see me react to Dreamcatcher in real time, still at this point, I have not seen their actual discography, even though this one technically came out after their debut. I have already kind of mentioned it. Go take a look at Dance Practice number 2 if you want to kind of hear my overall thoughts as to why I went ahead and watched Practice 3. And I'm very happy with the fact that we're able to be on this journey. And for me, my next video is going to be Dreamcatcher's debut. And it's been a long time coming, but we're here now. #CL. Cannot wait to take a look. It's going to be great. Once again, I am Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.